Hello, everyone. Yeah, okay. Just making sure I got this one turned on for the first time. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of uh, Hindsight. We are going to today. We are going to be discussing the curious case of Armie Hammer because he had been accused of sexual of BD, not even BD. It goes way deeper than that. It's more like sexual violence as well as I think the R word was also used, and there was a couple of leaks as well at the time. However, and I will be very honest here. However, this wasn't a story that I was, paying attention to. It wasn't a story that I wasn't tracking at all. I just saw it, couple of headlines here and there. So we're going to be discussing that, and but before we do start off with that, we're gonna go off with Ketchup Squeeze. So without further, yeah, like I said, we're going to be discussing the Arnie Armour situation, him coming forward, and addressing the allegations, actually addressing some of the things that was raised in the documentary as well, which is the House of Hammer, which we are going to be reacting to some of the parts, based on his refutals and his denials. So yeah, that's basically the show. But before we do get into that, we're gonna go into Ketchup Squeeze, which is the segment that I go through. Let me try and bring this closer. Might be better. Ketchup Squeeze is a segment that I go through to bring you the stories of the week, quick hit segments to warm you up. So without further ado, let's actually begin. Okay, so thanks once again to everyone that's here. Don't forget to hit that like button as well if you are watching this. I haven't, like I said in the intro, I haven't at all followed this story at all. The allegations came out in 2021, and yeah, we are going to get into the Army, go through the whole background, and lead you up to the present day and what everyone's talking about it. But before we do that, let's go into the first Ketchup Squeeze. And if you're watching this back on replay, hi, don't forget to hit the like button. The first Ketchup Squeeze is go. Okay, there it is. Okay, so yeah, Jimmy Zhang is a YouTuber, and he was falsely he came out recently because he was accused of, oh gosh, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not. Okay, there we go. All right. Yeah, he was accused recently of groping a teenager. Sorry, not groping. Wait, let me go into the video quickly.
Really, the camera and microphone around want us in it, in which just I say no multiple
Okay,
times.
So this is the background of the allegations against him.
As a tall baddie with a fat ass, immediately make a face, which you can see in the video. In the video he posted on YouTube, and in his portion is extremely short because Jimmy edited and clipped all of the times we state we do not consent to be in the video. We do not consent. to be in the video. Here is the unedited events. He approaches us with his camera guy and someone else who he's trying to pay to flirt with my partner, which we found out we finally saw the video. They are already filming when they get to us and want us to be in their interview video. I say no multiple times. Multiple times. What they were filming, what questions he will be asking if they want us in it, in which Jimmy gets defensive and kept asking why. I pulled the guy I knew aside and started explaining to him why I was cautious of interviewing content creators and why I do not want us in a video when Jimmy moves around him trying to get the microphone under my face to hear me. This is after stating over and over, I do not want to be filmed or interviewed in the video. I end the conversation with that, and once again, asking nothing is posted, which he agrees to. Really, the camera and microphone were on the whole time.
So for those that don't know, there was a couple of girls that was at a convention. So we're gonna skip to this timeline. Okay, so they were at a convention.
Supercharging more business with the.
I'm not really sure if I should call it a convention, if I'm being honest, because I think it may have been some other type of event, but they were at a place where a lot of people would frequent, and this is where, and they were accusing him of basically not getting their consent. And consent is a massive theme of what we're going to be discussing today, because that is kind of, we're going to be exploring this theme a lot more today. But what I saw here, in my opinion, was a misunderstanding of what consent is, or well, a flat out, because, and this is just a little story just to warm us up, but it's just it goes into what he is now showing was a false allegation because of what they came out saying, because they came out saying that they didn't give consent. This is the interview.
People at cons before.
What have they asked?
They don't ask. They shove it underneath their face and they're like, "What sex position do you like?" Blah blah blah. They're gross. They're weird. What hentai do you like? Stuff like that.
What's up, guys?
I did not expect that reaction.
If they are watching this video, I want them to learn the formula, right? I don't want them to go out there, do interviews, and creep people out. I want them to do it properly. Hey, man, describe your type of woman.
Tall woman with big ass. JJK.
Hold on, wait, that's his type. That's not even my type. And then I go on to paraphrase it. And plus, it was
So they were trying to frame him as a predator, and they were trying to frame him as somebody that was just hawking for these ladies.
For a quick second.
Okay, so this was basically
hello.
Yeah, so that was what the friend was noticing.
Harley Quinn?
Harley Quinn?
Yeah. Excuse me, Harley. After the picture cast, for a quick second. It's for a YouTube video.
But what specifically? Yeah, what are you gonna ask?
Oh, it's an interview.
Yeah, what are you gonna ask?
Just some
What are you gonna ask? We good for
trivia questions.
what kind of trivia questions?
Oh my God, we gotta sign a consent form or something. All right.
Tom? No, you're with Tom?
Yeah, I'm with Dom.
Okay, I know Tom. I've had so many weird fucking interview people at cons before.
That's what I'm saying. You got traumatized or something?
Yes, guys are fucking gross.
What have they?
Wait, am I gross?
Like people are gross. People
I
are
get
gross.
harassed a lot in Harley Quinn, so I've asked people.
What have they asked? What have they said that has
They don't ask.
left y'all
They
with,
don't ask. They shove it underneath their face and they're like, "What sex position do you like?" Blah blah blah. They're gross. They're weird. What hentai do you like? Stuff like that. No, so it's always good to
Almost some
ask
good questions.
and get consent before you go quick question. Just be like, "Hey, do you mind if you ask a couple questions?" Yeah, no. So as long as it's nothing sexual.
Yeah, okay, so that's pretty much all I wanted from that, because he ended up here. I think it was pretty much here. I think his friend, this is what I was looking for. Yeah. Okay, so I think he was going through. So what he basically, what the situation ended up basically resulting to was basically, because other people has done it to her, from what I've gathered from a little bit of background, seeing both footages, she may have misremembered or done it or something like that. But this is sometimes what can happen to people, because in all fairness, there is nothing. First and foremost, there is nothing that signals to me that this guy could was a creep or anything like that. But because of everything that's happened with a lot, especially this happened recently as well, and it's very interesting because what's been happening recently, especially in regards to this to the situation that we were discussing on last week's episode, where we were discussing the Tana Mojo situation, especially in light of all of everyone coming forward in terms of it's not just him, it's not just the Tana Mojo situation, it's also Dr. Disrespect as well, messaging minors, etc. All those things. Speaking about that, then you have this type of allegation coming forward, and a lot of people, as he revealed in this video, which I will leave in the description, a lot of people believed her, and he was rightly panicking. So I'm gonna play. Let me play the clip. Let me see.
Pocket questions. I would set the tone first, right? I'll be like, "Hey, what's going on?" Right?
I think he's explaining it here, but I think this part I'm looking
I
for.
won't trust. I just filmed the 8X. That'll be the last anime convention video I'll do.
No, I think
Man, this shit, like is. Here are the unedited events. I say no multiple times.
Yeah.
It's like you know when it was.
Yeah. So he's okay.
Like,
so this
oh, I didn't give consent. I said, where the fuck?
Okay, so he's pissed now, but from where I think what's happening here is the fact that she has caught that, like I said, like a lot. She's quoting the video, but she is putting him on blast for what other people has done by not getting consent, saying no multiple times, because she did say that in the video. That's one thing that popped out, and things like that can happen when you're looking at these allegations, because they might bring in real events, but you don't know the motive. I actually don't know the motive at all for actually doing this, and that's what we're going to explore a bit more today. So the next story that I'm going to be showing is let me just get it up. Hold up. Then the next story that I have here is I'm not sure if people are aware of this particular individual, but he goes by the name of Rollo Tomasi. And Rollo Tomasi is apologies, let me just go to it. Okay, all right. And Rollo Tomasi is okay. I have always wanted. Rollo Tomasi is a reputable YouTuber. I have always wanted to see. I have never. Oh, I have. Let me give a bit of context and not get ahead of myself, because that's what was happening. Rollo Tomasi is a YouTuber that does reputable content. If you're not aware of the reputable content, it is content that is geared towards uplifting yourself, blah blah. As a man, it has also been changed, and is, well, at least that's what I knew it as when I was growing up, but it has become something else in the modern era, where it's very misogynistic whatsoever. One of the content creators that are red pillars is Rollo Tomasi, and Rollo Tomasi in this particular case, a story has been coming out where he's been getting exposure. Now, when Cat Williams said earlier in the year that that this is the year that people are gonna get exposed, I didn't think he meant it on this level, because the exposure that has been going on this year has been epic. I'm not gonna lie. We've had so many celebs getting exposed left, right corner. Like I said, even this particular week, this whole week, last week and the week previously, Dr. Disrespect. Now it's last week it was Cody Ko, and that was that was a rehashing of a situation, and was only being exposed because someone was, sick of the silence. I'm gonna comment on that situation in a bit, because Kim Starr said something about that situation that really caught my eye. That kind of sets the tone for what we're going to talk about today. But in regards to the Ramos Talassi one, this one is just one of those weird and stories that I'm kind of happy is kind of happening, because I've never really agreed with his takes, and to see him being outed like this is possibly one of the best outings you can have. So here, let's just go to the part here. So let me give a bit of background, because it's quite a long video, but I'm gonna get to the part. I'm gonna get to the key part, but this is very recent. This is like today is the 24th. This video was literally uploaded a couple of hours ago, and like I said, we're gonna go to Armie Hammer, but this video was uploaded a couple of hours ago, and it details Rollo Tomasi having a fake account, and this particular account, well, not a fake account, but a burner account on Twitter, now called X. I'm never gonna get used to that, but basically, this particular video basically outlined the use of the fake account here. We can watch it here. Let's just, I think it shows us the correlation between the fake account and the real account.
Rollo's main account. Several minutes later, Rollo forgets to sign out of his alt account and replies to Z under his alt account instead of his main account.
So he was, what a way to out yourself. So he was arguing with some account on Twitter. And in that argument, what was even the argument? I think the argument was about it was even about some stupid argument. And there was a guy called Dodge JSTLK that was basically asking him to do a podcast with him, and he was not responding to him at all. So that's what sparked this, and he responded with this particular account, and this particular account made the tweet. That would be 100% Rollo Tomasi. He made a tweet that would be 100% him, and now she made a connection.
Z called.
So Rollo ended up blocking the account, and this is what ended up happening afterwards. So to save time, again, this is good. This is just to warm everyone up. So make sure you hit the like button. But this is a content creator that this is a content creator that a lot of people receive advice from, and this is him. Especially, like, I could not believe everything that I was seeing this account tweeting. So this, like I said, this is just a couple of days ago, not even a long time ago. You can't even say these are old tweets or anything like that. This is literally a couple. What's the account's name? Shout out to Just3411, who had put together this video. But yeah, this is basically.
Rollo says he's only famous on a plantation. Then there's another.
This is I saw
another video of I Show Speed where Rollo responds with "Gorilla gonna gorilla," and then Chad Lewis says, "Don't insult gorillas," and then Rollo says they are good for entertainment at your local auction. Forget about it. Clockmen are currently in a.
That's not even the worst part, because it goes on worse than that. Okay, but this is the part that I want.
The same account is a man. Y'all are down bad for someone with 2 oranges and a banana. And of course, Rollo says Only one with a banana is the N-word. Then we have a black guy named Tamar says, time for grandpa to retire. Rolo says, time for you to pick some cotton. Tamar ignores him, I guess, which irritates Grandma Tomasi. And then he responds behind that by saying, still waiting for the N-word who can actually fight. Christy says, newsflash, white people are the minority. We only make up 16% of the world's population. Leave us the F alone. Rolo responds by saying, we are the superior race. Bow down, N-words.
Now, again, these country, like, I'm just gonna take this opportunity to basically say that, these content creators that, especially that, like I said, it's still a very, 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 it probably will gain a lot of traction, but I've done a couple of reaction to the content creators that we watch and they consume, and the content that we that we consume, especially when it comes to relationships, especially when I'm trying to when I have this channel where I try to discuss abuse, especially from a legal standpoint, well, not from a legal standpoint, but you know what I mean, especially cover cases around abuse. It's definitely something I don't like to see, especially when you look at the Andrew Tate types and all those things. They're not for the behaviors that we're going to be discussing today. And I know, especially in regards with Armie Hammer, it's people like this that, in my opinion, this might be a bit of a hot take, in my opinion, is why you do have cases of false allegations, because Rolo is, this situation is probably not the best representative or best example of my point, but what I'm basically trying to say is basically it's guys like this that I've heard what he's had to say. I've heard his attitude towards women. I've heard what he's had to say in regards to just men that are growing up and the choices that they should make, and I just don't agree with them. So when I see things like this happening with him, I am super happy, because this is, especially with the stuff that I do, especially with the with the direction that that I want to achieve on here, where I am discussing, like I said, going into a lot of these cases to do with relationships, having issues, such as murder cases, murder cases that came from passion, trying to uncover what was going on there. Like, for example, the Ashley Benefield case, which I'm discussing all over on my second channel called Ketchup Court. You can go over there and check that channel out after this stream. But we go through trial watch, as well as live trials on there, and we also go through filings and all of those things on there. So make sure you subscribe to Ketchup Court. But yeah, we will be covering that case on the Unintentional Juror podcast. But basic background on that case is just she claims DV from the husband, who everyone doesn't really see him as an abuser, etc. I'll be discussing the case like that over there on that channel. But for this particular episode, like I said, I'm discussing Armie Hammer, and before I go into that, there is an element to this stream that I do want to discuss. Let me just get the video up. The element to that, and this is in regards. Hold up. And this is in regards to, we're going back to last week's stream. So last week, if you remember, I did a stream in regards to the Cody Cole allegations. When when Cody Wallace, who does have a lot of followers. Sorry about that. I'm just getting the video up. Okay. Cody Wallace, who does have a lot of followers, came forward to say and bring light to the Tana Mojo situation, because a lot of smaller content creators were not really discussing the case at all. They were not really, because of who she was and everything. We discussed that on the previous stream, but no one was talking about it. But now that everyone is talking about it, he's not responding either. So it's just kind of a quasi update, but it's not really an update. It's just a Keemstar spoke on the situation, and I find it resonating in a way, because let's hear what he has to say, and then I will give my 2 cents afterwards. Here it is. Oh, that's not it. All right.
To the internet without knowing.
Okay. Yeah, let's go back a little bit. Oh, okay.
Off record.
Questioning, well, why did he go to the police?
This was told to me years ago, off record. I can't just leak that.
Hold up. Let me start again. Okay.
Off record. I can't just leak that to the internet without knowing it's true, without someone.
Okay, so I forgot to give a bit of background in regards to this. So, Tana Mojo's friend Gabby Hanna, sorry, that's one. Gabby Hanna, I'm not sure if it's the same one that went through like that little episode, but she basically told Keemstar what happened years ago, and he's basically addressing the people that said to him that he should have came forward knowing these allegations years ago. So that's basically the updates, which basically Keemstar always knew, and this basically came out because he kind of eyed himself. He kind of basically said he's always known this, all of this, and it's finally time. It's been spoken about, and people were like, "Oh, why didn't you say anything?" And he's basically addressing that. So that's what we're gonna react to. Hold up.
Actually going on record and destroying Cody Ko's career over something that can't be confirmed. There's no witness on record. I can't just leak that. Please use your brains, all right? I can't just come out with that statement. I wasn't there. I didn't see it with my own eyes. I get told crazy allegations off record on a daily basis. And what my team does is we try to find stuff online to confirm it. And if we can't get some credible stuff online or other witnesses that come out publicly, there's not much we can do. We can't put out information that would potentially destroy a YouTuber's career without something solid. Now, what has changed? Well, we have Tana Mojo on record.
I agree with that. Before we go on to the last part where it says, I actually agree with that, because end of the day, I sympathize a lot with his situation, because you gotta think of it like in terms of, we all have friends, right? There are things that they tell us that they just don't want to handle at the time, or I don't know, they just been told by somebody else. It's, if we're gonna use examples with the people in this case, Mojo telling Gabby Hanna, and then she's telling Keemstar. So in that kind of situation where you're seeing this exchange going on, you're seeing what ends up happening here is you're faced with the dilemma of, well, if I just go and do this and do that, I'm betraying his friend's trust. And he basically did go on to say, I think he will say again that that is Gabby Hanna's trust with him. So it begs the question, like how far do you extend your trust? Like how far would you go to keep your trust? Like, would you actually go forward and tell somebody, or tell the police, tell the authorities, if I should ask a question in the chat, like if you guys would actually go and tell the authorities that so and so person um uh as has had this happen to them, would you go to the authorities? If your friend told you they are abusing confidence. Okay, that's a very serious question. Let me know, and then we will revisit after my particular reaction to this. So
and then we have Gabby Hanna's permission.
Okay, so let's go back a little
Destroy
bit.
a YouTuber's career without something solid. Now, what has changed? Well, we have Tana Mojo on record, and then we have Gabby Hanna's permission of me sharing what I was told years ago. That's what's changed. That's why I'm coming out with this statement now. But I want you guys to use your head. I even had someone saying, well, you didn't go to the police. No, I wasn't there. I didn't witness it. What am I gonna say? Oh, someone told us off record that this happened. We're not sure if it's true or not. What can the police even do with that? I'm the wrong person to go to the police. That would be like Tana Mojo or Gabby, who were actually there.
And yes, I agree. I don't.
Okay, so that was a Michelle McDonough video. Shout out to her for covering the situation. But basically, in regards, there was a lot of things that he said, because, like he said in that particular video, I agree with him. I think it's one of those, at least for me, I will have to see what you guys feel in the chat. In the chat when you guys voted by the end of this. But at least for me, if someone came to me, that is a real conundrum. If someone came to me with abuse and said that my partner has been, and told me that their friend, sorry, not to keep it equitable here, told me that their friend was bullying, was basically not bullying, but basically was being what had been, because of the situation with Tana Mojo and Cody Ko, is that when she was 17 and they had done a couple of shoots together, because they're both YouTubers. But when that basically had happened, they had basically ended up hooking up and basically ended up sleeping. It was statutory rape, basically. She was underage, and we done a segment on her last week. But if I was being told that, there is no way I would find it. I don't know. I would rather not know. Let me put it like that. I'd rather not know, because end of the day, that is some moral obligation I don't want to carry around for the rest of my life. So, I mean, in a way, maybe you can look at that view as kind of great, in a way that Keemstar could be a friend and, could offer that kind of support and be like, yeah, I'm going to be here for you. I mean, I'm going to hold that secret for you. I couldn't do it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I'm not. I mean, if you tell me to keep a secret, I don't know how I can do that. I would rather do my best to try and extract you from the situation, try and but that's abuse. If you're telling me about this, and people were in respect to what he was saying that he was going to say, going to say, as in going out to to the public and reveal this about Cody Ko, he said he wasn't going to do that without corroboration, and that is dangerous in a way. And I gotta say, I mean, I understand that you are protecting another YouTubers, and without further information, what can you do? And yeah, and I do respect the fact that Tanamoja hasn't gone on record, but at the same time, it's just you just know it, and there's no other way I can put it than that. He just knew. So I wouldn't be able to keep quiet. If I was Keemstar, I just wouldn't be able to keep quiet. But this is a lot of the things, and this is something that Armie. This is something that also Kevin Spacey also brought up with his interview with both Dan Wu and Piers Morgan about the fact that after you've been accused, well, at least accused of something, albeit his one is definitely different from this case. I'm not saying it's comparable, but what I'm saying is, especially with his one in regards to the false accusation element, and the fact that what I'm trying to say with him is the fact that you have especially with this scenario, with Keemstar not being able to come out and put out and say, yeah, this is what's happened because of the loyalties. You now have the other side where people are they're afraid to come forward to also support somebody when there are false accusations. I was trying to blend the two for the show, but in all honesty, like in cases like this, I don't know why there has been so much silence on this particular on the Tanamojo case, because I mean, you would think a lot, especially with her doing an interview and with her being a massive personality, you would think a lot of people would pick it up, but a lot of people did not even care for it, even when she done the interview, I think 5 months ago. And I think even Michelle McDaniel, who has even acknowledged in the video that I just showed you, that she was a smaller channel, around way smaller subscribers that she has now, and she was already on it. So with the fact that people were, I'm not sure about scared. Maybe they were scared because Cody Ko is a massive YouTuber and he does know Mr. Beast. So maybe they were scared that if they were to say something, it might ruin an opportunity. This particular topic does deserve its own video. It does deserve its own video. So yeah, if it's I may do one. I may do one if the moment calls for it. But in regards to the Armie Hammer story, in regards to the Armie Hammer story, what? How do I put this? So, like I said, I am not someone who is extremely familiar with his particular story, especially with the fact that this happened in 2021. With my trajectory of my life, even I think I was even in recovery at the point this came out, so I wasn't even at all bothering myself. But there is an article that I want to read from the Atlantic, and it was written in 2020, approximately a year before all this happened. It's nothing to do with Army at all or anything like that. It's only to do with hold up, let me try and extend that. It's nothing to do with Army or anything like that. It's more to do with the Me Too movement and basically the belief all women stance. And this was written by Helen Lewis, so it's a woman. And there's and I just want to hold up. There's a couple of things here that she brought up that I want to highlight here. Okay, where did where did I want it? 1 second. Oh, that's not it. Oh, I noted it down. I think this is hold up. This is the part. Okay, so it says in 2.5 years since the wave of Me Too allegations, score of famous. Oh my gosh, it's happening again. Apologies. Let me just get rid of that. Okay, there we go. Have come forward with experiences of sexual harassment, assault, and rape. There have been cancellations, job losses, convictions, etc. As we know, famously with Harvey Weinstein, etc. There have also been um, edges of uncomfortable gray areas, and I think that is linked to a story of Aziz Ansari. I think this here. That's the story that is linked to, but but what they're basically talking about is the gray areas is basically what essentially is consent when it comes to these things. But especially with the case of Armie Hammer, you now have the element of BDSM thrown into it, because at any point there is that that dynamic in which not dynamic, but there is tendency. I don't know the proper word to choose for this, but there is that. I think tendency will it will have to do for a lack of better words. There is that lack of tendency to maybe remove that consent that you have given when it is maybe too hurtful. I don't do BDSM, so I don't do anything like that. So I'm I'm yeah, I'm lost for words at what would happen. But for I can probably speculate as to that's probably the reason why that would happen. But with the Army Hammer case, and why this false accusation is kind of a bit more sinister, yeah, we're gonna get into that today. So make sure you hit the like button if you're watching this back on replay. Make sure that you leave a comment. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get back into the video. That broad truth, however, hold up. So I think I went down too far. It says, yeah. So it says, and men who have said their lives were ruined by nebulous allegations believe women was intended to capture an undeniable truth. Sexual harassment and sexual assault are so endemic in society that they make the coronavirus look like a rare topical disease. This must have been before COVID. It was called COVID. Yep. When was it? Think, not too sure when was it published. Not important. I just go with May 2020. It's not important. False allegations do exist, but they are also extremely uncommon. Okay. When thousands of women tell us that there is a problem with sexual aggression in our society, we should believe them. I don't disagree with that. That broad truth, however, tells us nothing about the merits of any case. And as my colleague Megan Garber wrote, believe women has evolved into believe all women or automatically believe women. This is what at least we can get acknowledgement here, that there is a coin as believe all women, because I saw a couple of posts ages ago, back when I used to argue with Amber Heard supporters, and I used to say that believe all women, no one should believe all women, and they used to say to me that no one that says believe all women is something that doesn't exist. It's something that was made up, but now we know it's true. Anyway, this absolutism is wrong, unhelpful, and impossible to defend. The slogan should have been, don't dismiss women, give women a fair hearing, or a due process is great. So that's all I wanted from that, because end of the day, wait, because at the end of the day, I will be covering a lot more of these college campus cases. I'm here. I'm putting together some videos for that. Exploring more into this false accusations and rape cases. I want to do a video going into the statistics of it, but I'm still compiling some resources for it to put together for the research, because like I said, I had interviews that I did for the Dead v Heard Part 3, but there was a lot of things that were cut out. So I want to really flesh out those stories and just really put them all together into a cohesive video. So yeah, there are 3 stories that I want to do on there, but especially with this Armie Hammer story, because he's not the only he's not the only person that has been falsely accused. I know another individual goes by name. Forgot his name already. Mario. He's from. He's a baseball. Forgot his name. Damn it. Forgot his name. Baseball. Upcoming baseball star. Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer. That's the one. Damn it. Knew it. Thank you. Trevor Bauer was also accused of this, and he was also in to that kind of play, that kind of edgy play. I don't know what to call it, but he was also into that kind of edgy play in which he is basically going into I'm not gonna call it BDSM because he never said it, but rough. Basically, both parties like it rough, etc. So he was basically into that. So we know that there are stories out there, and she basically now, in at least with the story of Lindsay Hill, which was his accuser, and also other women as well, because he also had multiple accusers, and his life was basically ruined over this. Those women, what ended up happening is that they turned around to say that because of those that those were not at all that consensual at all, and he basically went too far, but they were also saying that he also was abusing them as well, and was also being forceful with them, which is just anyway. If you know the Troy Bauer case, you will know my disgust with it, because it didn't happen at all that way. She pretty much consented to it, and she was pretty much in it for the money, and she basically went to the press when and yeah, she wasn't rewarded anything. But for that particular case, and for the Armie Hammer case, which we're gonna get into now, let me just especially for the Armie Hammer case, where let's just get into it. Okay. Especially for the Armie Hammer case, where he's now come forward on Piers Morgan to basically set the record straight, and basically rebut to a lot of the allegations that was made of him in 2021. This was not his first interview. He's done another interview, which let me just go to it really, really quickly. He's done another interview for the Guardian, I believe. No, it wasn't for the Guardian. I think it was reported by the Guardian, but I think it was. Let me just quickly exit from this. Hold up. I think it was. Yeah, so I think this was the first interview he's done since the whole I believe this is the first interview he's done since the whole scandal that was in 2021. It was in 2023, and okay, did not. I think I should have it here. Let me read it from there. But that's the original article. It is behind a paywall, so but I'll leave in there for you guys to go and read. But basically, this is I like to go here because this kind of footprint, especially after the cannibalism allegation, as well as the fact that he forcefully entered into one woman. Those allegations are very, very serious. So we're gonna be reacting to his response to them, as well as some of the interviews out there on the documentaries made about him. I'm only going to be reacting to, especially House of Hammer, by the way. That's what the documentary is called. I'm only going to be reacting to the first part, which is called A Love Bomb. And that part, and that basically details a lot of what the women were saying about him and the allegations that we're making about him. And yeah, we're gonna be going back and forth like that, if that makes sense. So without further ado, I'm going to begin here and read this. It basically reads but yeah, like I said, I prefer to come here because it gives us an outline of what he said back then and what he's saying now, because there were some things that I didn't notice from the interview that I do want to highlight. So basically, the one thing I want to highlight is basically I had a very intense and extreme lifestyle, which is going into the BDSM. I would scoop up these women, bring them into this whirlwind of travel, sex and drugs, and big emotions flying around it. So it's not talking about BDSM, but he's basically talking about the fast life, basically. And then as soon as as soon as I was done, I just drop them off and move on to the next woman, leaving that woman feeling abandoned or used. So basically, there was an article that was written of him back in 2017. I should have it here. But yeah, one second. Nope, I do not have it. Do I have it in my reading list? I think I should have it on my reading list. Never mind, I'm being a boomer here. Oh gosh. Okay. Okay, so no, it's not here. It's not here. Okay, so he said okay, moving on. So and he has said here all the way back in 2021, I think. Yeah. Sorry, all the way back in 2023, I said I was powerless in the situation. I have no agency in my sorry, he said hold up. He told, okay, that's one. I was powerless in the situation. Oh wait, no. Never mind. So he basically giving his background into BDS, into BDSM, etc., saying what that did for me was it introduced sexuality into my life in a way that was completely out of control. I was powerless in the situation. I had no agency in the situation. My interest that went into, I want to have control in the situation sexually. Talking to Emma, so he denied all of the allegations, and we're gonna go on here. So he says I would have these younger women in their mid 20s, and in my 30s, I was successful actor at a time. They could have been happy to just be with me, and would have said yes to things that maybe they wouldn't have said yes to on their own. So he's saying, and I'm here to own my mistakes, take accountability for the fact. Move on. I'm here to own my mistakes, take accountability for the fact that I was an asshole. I was selfish, that I use people to make me feel better, and when I done move on, I'm now a happy, more balanced person. So let's go back. Let's go into the article, because there's not a lot of things that he's saying here. It is divulged a lot more in interview that he done with Piers Morgan. That particular interview details, it goes through a lot of what that article was going into when he had done when he had done the interview with ML there, and he perhaps goes into a bit more detail. This is one of the this is one of the parts of the interview that made me you know that made me took an interest. Well, at least call this the anatomy of a false allegation, because especially with what the Armie Hammer situation has shown us, is that when it comes to false allegations, if we're not precise with what we're saying, I'm sorry, let me run that back. When it comes to allegations, if we're not precise with what we're saying, we could be misunderstood. It also reveals that because it also reveals that this particular case, we have to acknowledge the one thing, that there is no case whatsoever. Armie Hammer doesn't have a case file, case number, case ID, whatever. Well, there was an investigation, so I guess he doesn't have a case file there, but he came back with nothing. So no charges was brought for him. So there is nothing, no affidavit, no nothing, there's nothing to look at it evidentiary wise. So we are looking at a man that has probably been vilified more for his choices in the bedroom, as opposed to what is actually done that is morally reprehensible. So this particular part stuck out to me, and we're gonna play it here as it stuck out to me as something that was
Learn Spanish
really
with
hold up, that was really key in showing who he was, because I'll be very honest, the documentary was around his family. Let me not get ahead of myself. I will just play this part.
12th. Do you recall exactly how you found out?
I got a call.
Hold up.
It just caused such an intense anxiety for me.
So you get to this day,
Yeah.
January the 12th. Do you recall exactly how you found out?
I got a call.
Who from?
Because prior to that day, she had accused me of other things on social media. That was the day where she accused me of rape.
Right.
And that was the big word.
Right. He got accused of this.
That was the, record needle scratch.
I mean, what she said was you'd had a 4-year affair, she said, with you, during which she says you said the graphic and violent texts about cannibalism, about rape fantasies, your desire to drink her blood. These messages began to leak out all over the internet across 2 days.
Yeah, and I saw this at the time as well. I saw this on my Twitter timeline, and I don't think I even commented on it, because it was just, I don't know. It didn't come across to me as interesting. I just thought it was just another guy that was into some weird stuff. I'm pretty much liberal when it comes to what other people choose to do with their life. So, I mean, based on the allegations, I mean, when people say that you have to, when people say the word that as long as you're not hurting anybody, just do with it. Maybe in his case, but I mean, it's a BDSM joke, so it's one of those ones that I mean, I'm not in that community, but it's one of those advice that you pretty sure you have to be careful giving it. Let me just continue.
Days. Some of them, and I'll read just 3 of them. You just live to obey me and be my slave. You said to her, I will own you. That's my soul, my brain, my spirit, my body. Would you come and be my property till you die? If I wanted to cut off one of your toes and keep it with me in my pocket, so I always had a piece of you in my possession.
So this is the background of the allegation.
I'm 100% a cannibal. I want to eat you. That's scary to admit. I've never admitted that before. It was that stuff which obviously blew off around America and around the world. Armie Hammer, I'm a cannibal. In your own words.
Right.
Let's first of all address that elephant in the room. Are you a cannibal?
No. You know what you have to do to be a cannibal? You have to have actually eaten someone.
Have
No.
you ever eaten any human flesh?
No.
Not a question I thought I'd ever ask them.
Not a question I'd ever thought I'd have to answer, by the way, but no, never.
What do you feel that a large swathe of the public just think Armie Hammer is a cannibal?
Let's hear it.
If you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you.
I mean, I personally wasn't a fan of his answers because I would have, but at the same time, I know based on his response, I think he.
But the reason they would believe it is because you said it.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. I got ahead of myself because his response to it, I would have liked a bit more expansion, but I think he did expound a bit more, and I just think he just found it as too jovial.
I'm 100% a cannibal.
And I think a lot of these things, these text messages, it's this. This was a very intense affair, very sexually charged between two people with very similar proclivities and kinks. And any of those conversations that we had inside of that relationship, when you take them outside of that context and put them into broad daylight, it doesn't look so good. It's, and
we've never seen what she was saying.
Correct. I think for a very good reason.
Right. I'm going to come to one of the other accusers. I have seen some of the to and fro there, which puts a very different light, actually, on her claims. But in relation to Effie Angelova, I guess, look, there were rape fantasies. Is your position that all of this was just role play? That it may be offensive to people to hear about this and to read about it, but it's kind of BDSM, kinky sex role play. It's not actually meant to be taken seriously as you.
It just popped into my head as well. I considered, now, okay. Yeah, because there was a story that I considered putting in for Ketchup Squeeze. And it was the Mason Greenwood story. For those that don't know, Mason Greenwood had allegedly, there was an audio clip of him saying that he was, his girlfriend at the time, still is his girlfriend, the same person that was putting it, the audio out there as well as the Instagram out there, was Harriet, and she was basically accusing him of abuse, and there was pictures and everything, and also she was also, on audio, Greenwood could be heard saying things like really being aggressive. I'm not gonna cover that story because I think YouTube is demonetizing people that are playing the audio or anything like that. But long story short, basically on the audio, you can hear Greenwood basically saying, "I'm gonna." He's not saying the word rape, but he's basically saying he's gonna, grape her basically. So, in that with that particular story hitting the front page, etc., you as you do, you have commentary on your Twitter, on your Facebook, etc. And I'm on Twitter a lot, so this is all I was exposed to was just the pure fact of people saying that Greenwood, the whole situation, because this was around the time of February 2023 when he was when his girlfriend was pregnant, and people were basically saying that it may have been a role play that they were doing. I think there was even we done a show on it as well. I've actually, two guys, a guy and a tea. I think back in April, I think it was, or something like that. Where, or I think it was episode 5. But anyway, point is, it was the person said, he even came on the show and said it could have been role play because that's how they get down, that's probably their kink, etc. And it was such an interesting argument because at least you have it on audio. So if there was also audio on Armie Hammer, it would have been interesting to see how this would have been perceived, because all you have were his texts, and his defense to all of this was basically, the text, etc., was basically is how you speak with a particular couple. It's just how you speak, how you express romantics towards another partner. So that's basically how we address that. And um and so you have the question of what like, and as Piers Morgan brought up here, the sex fantasies, the grape fantasies, etc. That is what she is actually saying on national, well, not on national, I think it was on the when she was making Effie, basically, when she was making the allegation, that's what she was basically saying, that was actually violent, and he's saying it's foreplay. Well, at least from what I'm gathering, that that never happened, and he's denying that as well as the cannibalism, because that's just his metaphor or his way of showing that he's not like that.
Hey, do you want to find your stuff?
The other part that I want to get to is the part to do with the branding, because this part I think was talked about a lot in the documentary, actually, The House of Hammer. And I make sure you hit the like button as well. Also, if you missed it earlier, make sure you go over to my second channel called The Unintentional Juror, where we go through trial watch, as well as updates on legal cases. This week we are looking at the Ashley Benefield case, where she's claiming self-defense and DV as the reason why she had murdered her husband. Forgot the name, blanking on the name right now. But we are doing the Unintentional Juror podcast, where we're going through that particular case, as well as some new updates with Laura Owens. For those that don't know, Laura Owens is, if we're talking about false accusations, Laura Owens has taken a cake because she uses them to get into a relationship with you. We discussed that over on the Unintentional Juror channel, where you can find clips and highlights of those streams on the main channel as well. And also you can also find the full highlight stream. It's all available there, the Unintentional Juror. Make sure you check that out. And yeah, so moving forward, so this was in regards with the branding, because one of the ladies came forward, and I believe she was basically communicating. I'll be very honest, I'm doing all of this, and I'm gonna change my method. I'll be very honest. I'll be very honest. I'm doing all of this on the fly. I had a whole paper and all of that ready, and I couldn't find my sheet that I had planned. So I'm definitely going to change my entire note-taking procedure, because I take notes through the head, but I gotta store it a bit better, I guess. I guess you can put it. So I've lost all my timestamps, etc. So I'm trying my best to work from memory. It's been a miracle that I've remembered this far. But but yeah, branding with a knife, it goes in towards what I was saying, especially with this case, going in towards coercive control. There was something that he said, because that is something that on this particular interview that I don't think was discussed a whole too much. Because what I feel happened with these ladies, let me try and find it. Actually, was it here? I think there is a part in the documentary in and of itself where the lady actually where I forgot her name. I forgot her name. But basically, part one of the documentary really goes into, and there was a part really goes into the nature of the relationships that he had with some of these women. Let me go into one of them if I can find it here. All right, okay. I don't think I can find it. Okay. Without timestamps, there's nothing much I can unfortunately do. Right. Okay. So I think it was okay. So yeah. Okay. So that's the one. Okay. I think it's 41. I think it was 41. Right. So let's go there. It's 41. Yeah. 41 minutes of the interview. Let's go. All right.
Is that there is no
no.
negotiated back
And
and
the
forth.
scenario was what?
It was what would be called in that sort of world consensual non-consent.
It's a rape. Consensual. I mean, a rape role
Rape
play.
implies that there is no consent.
But she wanted to simulate an
Correct.
experience of
It
being
would, it would be a simulated.
But with her knowledge, in fact, as you
Not
say,
only her knowledge, her planning. You know, she said, meet me at this Starbucks and follow me home, then come in the door and do this. So, you know, I had never engaged in anything like this before. So we tried it and I got to her house and the door was locked and I had to shoot her a message and be like, your door's locked. I need you to come unlock the.
Okay. Now, okay, so.
Not easy to watch because it also feels emblematic of how angry.
I went too far. I went too far ahead. I think it was it was was it 38? I think it was 38. No, it wasn't 38, sorry.
I made people.
So I think it was 39, sorry.
I've been using
because he's now yes.
Epidemic Sound as my go.
Yeah, so it was a bit earlier than that. Apologies, I went to the wrong timestamp. Like I said, I am working literally off memory of whatever I wrote down. This is kind of what I wrote down, but need to make myself a bit more unstoppable now, because there is a purpose to doing all of this. Because there will be more people coming forward. I feel like there has been a lot of, can I say, remnants from the Me Too movement. There's been a lot of things that's happened since the Me Too movement, and I think there has to be some kind of nuance brought to this kind of discussion in a way, because I don't want to feel, if I speculate all day, I would do that, but I don't want to feel as if that these women that are coming forward, or whoever is coming forward, is just lying, if that makes sense. So I want to kind of show what a false allegation looks like and what doesn't. Based on the story that he's gonna say here, I'll call this a false allegation. So let's hear what he has to say.
And in a way,
let's go back a bit.
I know the path that I was on was only going to lead into one place, and that's death. To different kinds of
things got a lot more serious several months later in 2021 when Effie Angelova, who'd had that lengthy affair with you, went public with accusations that you had raped her. That initiated an LAPD, Los Angeles Police Department investigation. Gloria Allred, the famed feminist attorney, took up her case, and she was seen giving a pre-recorded statement making allegations about you. We've got a clip of this.
We all know about Gloria Allred, and she was also in that documentary as well. I think House of
On
Anarchy.
April 24th, 2017, Armie Hammer violently raped me for over 4 hours in Los Angeles, during which he repeatedly slapped my head against a wall, bruising my face. He also committed other acts of violence against me, to which I did not consent.
Now,
again, what do you feel?
Because I am gonna go back to that clip in a bit, because this is kind of where this video came in, or the idea for this video anyway. Way it was based on that clip. I had the timestamps that I had written down were more videos, because I do have way more videos that I pulled up examples to kind of make my point for me, but it is what it is. I mean, and they also included and they also included the extra articles that I need.
It's not
Right.
easy to
Next week.
watch because it represents one of the most difficult times of my life that I've
I didn't like this answer.
ever been
For the
through.
record.
And it's not easy to watch because it also feels emblematic of how angry and hurt I made people.
Was she telling the truth, do you think?
No. She wasn't.
About any of that?
There were sexual encounters that we had that were, I would say, more extreme in nature. But the encounter that she's talking about was something that we discussed and we planned. She planned. She said to me, I will be at this Starbucks at this time. I want you to follow me home. Then I want you to break into my house, and I want this to feel like a real scenario. I want this to feel real. And we negotiated back and forth.
And the scenario was what?
It was what would be called in that sort of world consensual non-consent.
It's a rape. Consensual. Well, I mean, a rape role
Rape
play
implies...
Well, I will have to highlight this because I do like the fact that he actually did break down the difference here. And it's a very important distinction. I do like that. And I do like the conversation that this is kind of bringing from, from his face, because end of the day, I would just say, why would you go ahead and make, that these claims with Gloria Older and all those things if it just never happened? We're going to go into a bit more of that because I do have a lot of words around that.
That there is no consent.
But she wanted to simulate
Correct.
An experience of being raped.
It would be a simulated...
But with her knowledge, in fact, as you
Not
say,
only her knowledge, her planning. She said, meet me at this Starbucks and follow me home, then come in the door and do this. So, I had never engaged in anything like this before, so we tried it, and I got to her house and the door was locked, and I had to shoot her a message and be like, your door's locked. I need you to come unlock the door. And she was like, oh shit, sorry, be right there. So it was even awkward and clumsy, but it was something that we tried that we never did again, but it was something she wanted to try, and I wanted to be an accommodating partner.
There were screenshots.
So basically, based on all of this, she's the one that was actually introducing him into the BDSM life, and she's now making this video. It's actually maddening because I didn't know that, and I watched the full documentaries, etc. And it was mainly, it reminded me of the murder case because it was more like he was being painted because he's associated with his family. He's also, and again, I'm not gonna, king shame anyone. You have your kings, but I don't know much about the BDSM world to even comment on it. So, but I definitely wanna highlight here, especially with the consent issue, because what he's speaking to here, when taken out of context, he's right. He is right. He didn't say it, but you are basically finished if you are not within that context, if you're not within that kind of realm to understand what was going on with the terms, etc. It may be seen as people will not know until it's cleared up, basically. So what I'm trying to reconcile based on his explanation that we're about to get right now, and also based on what the lady has said, what I'm trying to reconcile is, why would she make that allegation? What would be the motivation for making the allegation? And on top of making the allegation, why would she? What is the emotions behind it? Why she's feeling like that? What could have been her truth or true to her, and what could have been, like, because at the end of the day, I gotta know. Like, he must have done something. Is what I'm trying to say. He must have done something. So I'm not saying he's guilty or anything. By the way, I'm not saying that, because they did investigate him and they found nothing. So if they investigate his phone, and like he just put out here that he was messaging her to open the door, if they found that, it's case done. They're not going to bring the case to a jury. No one is going to be that stupid to say, yeah, you still did something, despite the fact that it was her idea. But the reason why I brought up Trevor Bauer, I'm not sure if you guys can, if it's loud enough. Oh, okay. But the reason why I brought up Trevor Bauer, because it's very similar. It's very, except Lindsay Hill was a bit was definitely aggressive. But I mean, both of them, both Trevor Bauer and Armie Hammer, have lost everything. So, and their stories parallel in a way, because Lindsay Hill was basically giving him all the goals to go as rough as possible, etc., because he was into that. I don't know about BDSM, which would be toys and all those. I don't know. It's not my life. Nothing to do with me. But that's But like, end of the day, she was initiating it. She wanted it. So now I'm seeing shades of that here, and I'm like raw. Like, I didn't think. Well, I mean, judging that both of them were happening around the same time is even more ironic, because I think Trevor Bauer was happening a thing around, because I heard the story in 2023, so it was happening around the case anyway was happening around 2021, sometime 21. I can't remember, but anyway, let's go on to hear what he has to say.
Published by Airmail magazine, in which Effie appeared to have told an Instagram follower that she'd had consensual sex, her words, with you, allegedly writing, "He is not dangerous.
Yes.
He didn't rape anyone." She also told another follower, allegedly, she was not saying that you had raped her. Airmail reported those conversations took place before she made her initial allegations public.
Yes.
When you saw that report, what did you feel about that?
I wasn't surprised. I knew that she wasn't raped. I knew that she didn't consider it rape. I knew that we had a completely and entirely consensual sexual relationship from start to finish. So to see her out there saying publicly that I did not rape her, that I never raped her, that it was all consensual, and then to see an international press release where she's crying and saying that I raped her, it wasn't easy.
What was fascinating to me, because I know,
yeah, because the press, it was it was in 2023, because the documentary, no, it was in 2022. Wait, so the Amma article it wasn't in 2020. It wasn't 2023, wasn't it? I think it was, 2023. The Hammer House documentary was released on it, on 2022, or maybe early 2023, because maybe that's what the credits were showing in when I was looking at the release dates. But everything that he's speaking to there, because I look at that and I'm like, why would you say that? But all through this interview, they brought up, power dynamics, social dynamics, power dynamics and all of that. Maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's why she didn't say anything, but then again, she still cleared it up, and she still went on, which is basically what he's trying to say. She cleared it up and went on live, and still not went on live, but went with Gloria Aldred and still put it out there that he violently raped her and done all that. So why would somebody do something like that, right? Like we brought up in previous episodes, there has to be a motivation for doing it. Could be revenge, could be alibi for being somewhere where it's not supposed to be. So we already know that the nature of their relationship was already kind of like an affair, because he had a wife going on. If we were to look at this and actually look at the fact that she has actually categorically denied it on that paper. Motives for denial, maybe you can argue for so many things, but she still went ahead and went ahead to Gloria Aldred. I think in this particular interview with Piers Morgan, I think he also said that that they did not, that Gloria Aldred even dropped the. I'm not sure if it was her, because he does have multiple accusers, multiple women came forward, but nothing could come forward because nothing could be established. But in the particular documentary, which again I don't have the timestamp, so I can't particularly remember which particular timestamp I need to go. I think I do have the timestamp here. I've and I think they were discussing, hold up, yeah, so let me in that particular documentary, she did text back to Armie Hammer saying that she was hysterically trying to get away when she was when the whole activity was done and everything, and he messages saying that he enjoyed it, etc. She messaged back saying that she was hysterically trying to get away because she didn't enjoy it, took it like a champ. I think that's what he said. Okay, let me share it right here so that you guys can see. Oh. Let me show you right here. 1 second. Let me just I think it's here. Yeah, so that's the text message that he sent. I hope they don't demonetize my stream for showing bits of that documentary, but it is on Discovery Plus. I think it is particularly here that they discuss that particular press release. Let's go. Wondering what was the motive for this documentary, because if nothing came across it, because the LAPD, well, they didn't, I think they disclaimed it in this particular documentary, but I wanted to know why they brought it in, especially in regards with this angle of the fact that the people that he had representing him. I think he even said it wasn't him. Nope, I don't think it was him. I'm confusing the memory, but I don't think it was him. But yeah, so hold up. I did not show you the video. Once again, let me go back to it. Once again, I did not show you the video. I do apologize for that. Let me go back a little bit. I did not show you the video. Let's go back. I think you heard it, but you just didn't.
And her bravery of coming forward.
So it was with other women, that the documentary was based around other women that came forward, that also went through something with Armie.
She came forward and told everything. He also
Hold up.
committed other acts of violence against me.
And it's been really close to being me, and in other situations it happened.
Sorry about that.
So I was really grateful for.
And it launched a police.
All right, there we go. All right, so I think I'm not sure. We'll always want to question the motive for doing something like this, because it was even disclaimed, as I said. It was even disclaimed in this particular documentary that that the police that came forward, that they will not be proceeding with charges against him. I think these events happened in 2017. So would it have had a whole issue of statutes of limitations? Likely, but also it also puts to mind the Cody situation, in which her situation, as you know, is statutory, but also you can argue that, I think, how old is she now? Let me see how old she is. Sorry, sidebar for his sex. Sorry, Cody Co. No. Tina Mojo. So how old is Tina Mojo right now? So she's 26. So this was 7 years ago that this particular incident. No, 9 years ago. Sorry, that the particular incident with Cody Coase had occurred. So when you're when you're looking at the particular so that happened 6 years ago. The Armie Hammer situation, I think, 9 years ago. The Armie Hammer situation, I think, is also 9 years ago, because apparently these situations took place in 2017. So you're also looking at the lack of but even with that, there was still an investigation. They didn't say that it was a lack of limits, like that, you know, it was a statute of limitations, but it was more of a lack of, they didn't comment on it. Like they just didn't pursue it. They just didn't find anything to pursue him with. It's basically, so I can sympathize a lot with what Armie Hammer is going through right now, because how do you defend against allegations of not just only he said, she said, but at the same time you find yourself in a position of denying something that just doesn't exist? Like I said, this is why I do this, because I want to show situations like this where a bit of care should be exercised. And this interview is very important for that, because again, different situations. I wasn't going to the Tanamoji situation to compare to this, no, but it was to show it was to try and think of and jog my memory in regards to the statute of limitations. But in regards to this, in regards to the role playing situation, because what is about to go into here is the topic of consent, especially when it comes to BD, you know, all that area. But also it reminded me of someone channel that I do watch, goes by the I think Patience, I believe her name is, and she was going through this, and she hypothesized that the reason why a lot of women are coming forward and are making all these accusations is because of the lack of education around consent. And that was interesting to me, because all through this, that's all I'm thinking of. These women may not know what consent actually is. So when they're making these allegations, they're bringing in, just to like try and fill in the gaps, they're bringing in events that did happen that may have broke their boundary in the moment. But because they're remembering that back, they're like, okay, I didn't actually consent to that because I didn't, but they might be misunderstanding what that means. So this part right here that he's going to break down is why it's important. Why it's important to understand consent. Let's go to it. Go back. Hold up, sorry. You could hear that, but you can't see that. I will share it right now. Apologies for that. I literally just realized what had happened on my end. So let me just fix that now. Oh, okay. There we go.
That, on the face of it, is quite telling. That someone like Gloria decided this is not for me, this case, because she couldn't get her client to do this under oath.
Yes.
Did you think that was significant?
Yes. Under penalty of perjury, if she signed this affidavit and it was found to be untrue, she would be in legal jeopardy.
Does any part of you think that this was part of any plan that she had all along? Were you set up, or did it all go on too long for it to be a setup like that?
Oh, you mean initially why she approached me?
I just wondered. I mean, you were a Hollywood star. You know, she's come up to you. That's how it all started. Do you think you were set up, or do you think it was?
Yeah. So wait. Did I miss that? I think I did miss that. I'll be back to it because I want to hear this part. Sorry, no, I want to hear. I'm going to react to this part as well, but I think there was a part that he did break down what consent was.
Implies that there is no consent.
But you want
consensual non-consent. It was what would be called in that sort of world consensual non-consent.
It's a rape. Consensual. I mean, a rape role.
Rape implies that there is no consent.
But she wanted to simulate an experience of being raped.
It would be a simulated.
But with her knowledge, in fact, as you
not
say,
only her knowledge, her planning. You know, she said, "Meet me at the."
All right. So I think it is much more
to like-minded souls. But then when it soured and it sort of ended, that's when she changed her view of what had happened.
I think it's more that. I don't think it was a premeditated, I'm going to take this guy down before I ever meet him. I don't think she was that calculated. I think it started organically, became very intense, and then ended. And I think those feelings of loss or anger metastasized. And
would that be other? Can you call that revenge? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's revenge.
Someone with very little recourse except to do this.
Yeah, because the other three accusers wasn't. Her accusation was the most damning one. The Effie woman was the most damning one because the other accusers were just. They were. I think there was in the particular docuseries, I think the other accusers were just unhappy it didn't work out. They were really sad that it didn't work out, that they were not, and also they were not also acclimated, you know, like they were just not adjusting to his life and what he wanted and what he was wanting basically. So they were mainly talking about the topic of consent. But let me go before I go forward, because let me go into the poll. Let me go into the poll quickly. 1 second. Because okay, so you guys are deadlocked. Oh, that helps. Okay. Yeah, the poll really received 3 votes. Yes, no, and maybe. So I feel like this is one of those polls that I feel like this is one of those polls that someone just clicked on one of the options because they saw that it was behind others. Anyway, but the poll was basically: would you go to the authorities if your friend told you the abuse in confidence? And that was going in regards to Keemstar. Now, I would like to know that was in regards to Keemstar and why he wouldn't come forward with the Cody Code situation. I personally respect it. Just to go back to that, I personally respect it because end of the day, your friend's word is everything. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can respect it. I can respect their loyalty to their friend. Was it an easy option? I don't know. Some people might. Sorry if the background, I'm kind of hypersensitive to the background noises. So if you are picking it up, I do apologize. But we only have 10 minutes left of the show to go. So I appreciate every single one of you that have tuned in. Make sure that you hit the like button. Thank you to every single one of you, by the way. I'm just gonna round it up now. So basically, these are just my closing thoughts on this, because end of the day, There was a lot of things that that we explored on this. I'm gonna finish this part because there was a part that he talked about, and that was rehabilitation. If I don't find the part, I would just have to because yeah, like I said, I lost my sheet. Of course he considers, I think it's 107. I think it was 107, 108. But
this is how AI.
But in regards to this, there is something to take away from this, because end of the day, we may ask the question of, what would you do if if your friend had told you about an abuse of another? Would you report it, etc.? And then I would be interested to know if the lady that was accusing him had had told someone else, and if so, who was it? Because end of the we like because end of the day, I think his response to all of this has been it's left me thinking, because end of the day, every accusation, the greatest difficulty with every accusation, not to us, but at least not to us, but at least the officials that actually have to handle this every single day, is deciding whether it's credible or not, right? Is deciding how the investigation should go, how deep they should spend their resources on something, etc. So if they decide not to do anything about that situation, does that person now get recourse even after the fact that this particular individual came forward to have accused him of abuse, and he's like, no, that's actually not what happened, because she actually was the one that actually brought me into this life, and I just never had a stop into it. And it's kind of weird when it turns out like that, because at that point, what is the reason of the false accusation? Why does it actually exist? Also, why is Armie speaking out now? And why is he doing that? Because end of the day, I always say this: false accusations is definitely abuse, and the reason why he's definitely speaking out now, I can maybe speculate to a level and be like, this is tormenting him for years, and he's going to torment him. It's one of those situations in which, when you have been falsely accused, you've been shunned out of society one way or the other. Once you make an accusation, it's like being shunned out of society. So hopefully this is the part, and my memory is correct. Hopefully this is the part that he does talk about the effects of this accusation and what is done to him. And if it doesn't, I will try and summarize it. But let's hear it.
Names.
Luca Guadagnino has also been vocally supported.
So this is that's the people that have been supporting him.
Shut up. Everything's going to be okay. It'll help you.
What was the best
amazing
advice he gave you?
That's not it.
Platform.
Has she tried to contact you?
Well, I've blocked every single avenue of communication. I didn't bring this to him. He didn't bring his to me.
Oh yeah, this is when
legal battle himself, which he had shared cannibal texts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Pointers, we've communicated a few times. Yeah.
I think this is when Deb was brought up.
Yeah. Phone, FaceTime.
Shared cannibal texts.
Yeah. Pointers,
But has he been helpful? Because he's been through a very traumatic legal battle himself, which he ended up.
I didn't bring this to him. He didn't bring his to me. It was more of a social call. How are you? Good to see you. Glad you're still alive. That kind of thing.
Mickey Rourke once said to me when he was in the wilderness in Hollywood before the rest.
That's not it. I have so many timestamps in my head. So
PD, the relationship unable to pay for allegations being made.
That was you never.
Yeah, I'm not gonna find it at this. Oh no, is the transcript? Nope. This is. Let me see this. This video is proof. can be a really great case drop. She refused to go on the oath that says case was dropped. She refused to go on the oath that says it all. I felt the instability myself made it okay, unless others made me feel that way. Okay, so where is that part? I do apologize for this. Was it here? Let's see.
A lot of unfortunate and painful things happened. Most of them my fault in the relationship.
She made you undergo psycho-legal evaluation.
Learn Spanish.
Okay, so that's all I'm gonna have time for today. So I do apologize for that today. I didn't unfortunately get to find that timestamp. But I will take a lot more care with this, because especially with the fact that I do know it's exactly where I want to go now with the topics I want to discuss, with a lot I want to achieve. Apologies for that. With a lot that I want to achieve on YouTube, I need to be a lot more concise than this. So I will definitely improve for the next stream. It's only our 17th stream, so I should be a lot better than this. But do head over to the unintentional juror, which is called Ketchup Court. All the details is in the description. But in regards to this, I will put the sources to all of the stories that was shown here, especially on Ketchup Squeeze. But there was something that was brought up on Piers Morgan, that they were talking about a pathway back. And I do feel like that is gonna come soon, a pathway back for people that have suffered from false allegations, and people that have suffered, especially in the industry and that world, from being accused, and having their livelihood ruined. Now, I do think that that's gonna happen, and again, it is a driver for what I'm doing, because when that happens, we, in my opinion, have to be ready to kind of really put on a real act of forgiveness, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, but in all fairness, I do agree, because if it comes out and if there is evidence that there is falsity somewhere or the other, both sides should be looked at with a bit more grace. Let me put it like that. Everyone should be looked at with a bit of grace. I'm not saying that false accusation doesn't ruin lives just because you're looking at the person perpetrating the accusation with a bit of grace. But what I am actually saying is that if we do look at that, you do have two things. One thing could be achieved, it could hopefully deter people from doing it, because they realize that when it does happen, not only will you be called out, because that's what, for you to be given grace, you kind of have to be accountable on some level. So I haven't heard anything about this girl that's come out to show some form of accountability or anything like that. Effie. So I don't know. But in regards to Armie, it didn't come across to me as someone that has. He came across to me as someone that was understanding of someone that kind of understood where they may have gone wrong. Like I was bringing up with the example of Mason Greenwood earlier, if there was a video or an audio to accompany one of these escapades that he found himself embroiled in, that may have been an interesting dynamic to play with and to see, but him denying it and the fact that she doesn't sign the affidavit, etc., Effie being the person, it does make you question. That's all I have time for today. I appreciate every single one of you that have been here from the beginning. And I'm not just talking about the beginning of this stream. From the beginning of episode 1, I am making a lot of changes onto the channel, so I'll be communicating all of these changes over on the community chat tab. So make sure that you do check that out, and make sure that if you do like what we have to produce here, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Like I said, there's a lot more content coming out on the channel. It was unfortunate. Maybe I should be a bit more. It was unfortunate that I didn't give you. I feel like I didn't give you 100%, and that's because of just losing my notes. I feel like I'm gonna start doing this. If this ever happens again, something goes wrong or whatever, I'm gonna cancel the stream. I'm just gonna do it because I had such a show planned today, and just not having it in other places has really opened my eyes in a way. Because I really I do this to entertain, but also at the same time it has really knocked me off a lot, because I really was really hoping to make a more comprehensive dive into this, and I'm kind of angry with myself in a way that last minute I could not find the one important part, which was my notepad. I could not find it at all. I'm looking everywhere, but it's not here. But that happens. I'm still trying to find the most appropriate time for us to go live. So I'm gonna be going through 11 o'clock, which is 11 o'clock UK time. I'm gonna be going through which will be 6 o'clock Eastern time. I'm gonna be going through that for like 3 weeks to see what it's like. Then I will switch to a new time of 6:30 and see what that's like. But for now, for the next 3 weeks, we shall be going live every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock UK time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. So 11 o'clock UK time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And we'll be going through. We discuss on here controversial cases as well as pursuing controversial topics. And particularly with next week, we're going to be looking at a man that was falsely accused and was sent to jail for rape he didn't commit. He has come out and he gave an interview. We're going to be going through that interview, and we're also going to be going through another interview by Brian Banks. His story is way. So these stories back to back, it would kind of bring the chapter of false accusations that we've been going through here to a fitting close, and we shall be moving on to the next chapter. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have planned for today. So definitely have to change my mindset. The way I speak on the situation. Definitely, next week, definitely without a shadow of a doubt, a comprehensive stream planned, as we now have Ketchup Squeeze, which is a segment that we go through free of the latest news on social media and Twitter. Like we discussed last week, we talked about the Cody Co situation when it was literally broken, and this week it is the Rollo Tomato situation when it was literally broken, and he was making racial remarks, and we looked at his downfall. We discussed the Armie Hammer topic and the topic of false accusation. Just to sum that up, and to really summarize, how do you react to false accusations? How can you distinguish from a false accusations, and what motivates people from false accusations? If it wasn't clear from all of this stream, is definitely what is very clear from false accusations, and what is very obvious is just the pure factor of intentionality. I believe a lot of these women that were with him were hurt, and I believe he just didn't want them after they had consented to doing all these things, and they felt like something could have grown, and it didn't. And I feel because they felt like they may have consented to something that they would not normally do, but that because of that, it ended up turning out to be a double-edged sword, because that would bring a lot of feelings because they were not, again, subjecting themselves to do that with somebody else. Some of them anyway. That they will be compelled to come forward and make allegations against him, especially in regards to consent. This definitely needs a rehash, but a different case, so that I can provide a bit more of a comprehensive look. So, like I said, next week I'll make it that a lot more comprehensive, because the interviews that I've seen, I've only watched them once. So this one here is one of them, but for the Brian Banks and for the Brian Banks interview, I've only watched the one that he did back in 2016. I believe it was with, I forgot her name. Damn it, she has her own YouTube channel now. I forgot her name. Megyn Kelly, that's the one. He done one with Megyn Kelly when she was on USA Today back in 2016, and he's done another one. Brian Banks is the he. He's done another one with James English. So we're going to be reacting to that interview, as well as reacting to another interview by, I forgot the name of the guy. I'm bad with names, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm bad with names. I'm really bad with names. But let me try and find it here. I'm really bad with names. Oh gosh, I don't have it. I don't have his. I have it here. Oh gosh, I didn't write. All right. That's embarrassing. So I don't have his name. It's Lee Wilkinson. I think so. Falsely accused of rape. 17 years. Andrew Markinson, that's the one. Okay, Andrew Markinson. So he was exonerating due to DNA evidence. Thank you, Google, for well, I'm still red faced because I didn't know it. But end of the day, we are going to be diving into his case as well as the case of Brian Banks, and again we're going to be going through the conversations in regards to that. This wasn't a stream in regards to consent, by the way, but there was a part, and this is the part that I'm that's really got me hot and bothered. I'm really pissed right now. If it doesn't look it, but I am really pissed. But the part that I really wanted to discuss was how Armie Hammer broke down consent, and there is a massive difference. Like I said, the girls doing this, I think they just have a different understanding of what consent is, and they feel like if you consent to something and it has little clauses that may have been implied or not expressed, or expressed in one way or the other, and something happens that did not go your way, if you may not agree or disagree, they feel like this is a rob of that consent. So I feel like that is why we saw the false accusation in this particular scenario with Armie Hammer. I feel like the lack of not going through the process, not going through court or anything like that, has really robbed us of some kind of truth from it, because all we do have is their words. And and as you can see, I was really trying my best to respect the allegation that was made by the woman, but for her not to sign the affidavit was, I don't know, it was kind of weird for me. So, and when I saw something like that, it's not something that I want to call out a flat out false allegation, but what it come across to me, it seems like it was just a misunderstanding of the language, because I don't think it was coercion that she was, but I do think it's power. I do think all of that dynamic did play a part into basically everything that we saw right there, with the way she felt, because I'll be very convinced if she said that I only said everything that she said because I said everything that she said, and I accused them because I told them about this fantasy of mine, the grape fantasy. We done all of it. I put myself through that, and we didn't end up being together. It sounds like revenge, and it is revenge in a way based on the language. But if you told me that was the reason, and if she told me that was the reason, I'll believe her, because that sounds plausible. If this is the first person that you've done that with, I can see that being a bit of a. But based on what he said, she introduced him to the world. So, but we'll table that for now. Thank you so much, every single one of you, for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. I appreciate every single one of you. Random Girl, thank you so much for modding today, and thank you so much, every single one of you that may have utilized the chat. I appreciate you. If you're watching this back on replay, make sure that you hit the like button, and also leave behind your thoughts on the episode in the comment section below. Take care of yourself and have a great day. Bye bye.